Hi, I'm Jesse Ylönen, and you're listening to History in the Making podcast.
The Montreal Canadiens select.
The Montreal Canadiens are proud to select
Jesperi Kotkaniemi,
Ryan Poehling,
Cole Caulfield.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of History in the Making, the official podcast of the Montreal Canadiens, where we focus on prospects and the future of the most storied franchise in pro sports history. History in the Making is brought to you by Tricolore Sport, Montreal's official team store. From lifestyle brands to jerseys and beyond, Tricolore Sport has a style for every sports fan in your life. Head to tricoloresport.com and use coupon code HISTORYCH at checkout to receive 10% off your orders. Visit tricoloresport.com today. Now, they don't have any Lyle Odeline jerseys at Tricolore Sport, but they do have all the reverse retro is back in stock. You know it is the gorgeous blue. Go take a look at it. First of all, we're going to be joined by a special guest this week by the name of Jesse Ylönen, who finally taught me how to pronounce his name properly. But fascinating prospect, one of the best skaters in the entire organization. He just started his career with the Laval Rocket, off to a strong start. His coaches love what they hear from him, what they see from him, all the questions they get from him, and how he puts it into application. So far, so good in his transition. We're going to speak about a little bit, what it takes to make that jump to North America. Keep in mind, you do it at such a young age, you're probably leaving your family for the first time, new culture, new rink, new teammates, new everything. So I'm going to ask him about Poutine, as I usually do, but we're going to go more in depth about that. This week, I'd like to focus on the Laval Rocket. I feel like with everything that's going on in terms of, Caulfield's, tearing up the NCAA, Sean Farrell is tearing up the USHL. We have Harris and Struble doing so great in the NCAA. We're kind of ignoring the Laval Rocket, but they're off to a very good start. Even in the two games that they lost, I saw a team that was dominant. I mean, they could have an undefeated record so far. So what we're seeing right now is from top to bottom, a complete team. You have the veterans. Jordan Wheel is off to a very good start. He's at a point per game. He's essentially leading the push there as a veteran. And the key, again, you don't need a ton of veterans. You need good veterans. Joel Bouchard will repeat that all the time. Jordan Wheel is doing exactly that. He's playing the good veteran role, helping out others when he needs to, taking a step back when others need opportunities. That's what you want to see from him. And he's obviously helped out by the captain, Xavier Ouellet. There's a plethora of veterans in that lineup that know their role, are willing to row in the same direction as everyone else. And again, that's leading to very good things. But beyond the veterans, you have just a bevy of depth. Lucas Vedemo, who is one of Joel Bouchard's favorite, just again off to a very good start offensively speaking. He's putting the he's getting on the scoreboard. But more than that, you're seeing a guy that's turning into a complete player. He's probably one of those guys that Bouchard wants to see all his guys make it to the NHL, right? He has this really funny line. He said, if ever a player says his dream is to play in the AHL, he's either an idiot or a liar. Now that's harsh, obviously, but he's talking about the guys that got drafted highly, for example, like Lucas Vedemo. And the reality is this is a stepping stone. So he's using that stepping stone to make it to the next step. And he's absorbing all the information, doing a very good job there, along with our guest, Jesse Ylönen, who is producing offensively beside a guy like Raphaël Hervé-Pinard. We have Yannick Veilleux. Ryan Poehling is off to a very good start. Otto Leskinen, Laurent Dauphin. Like, there is just so much talent there, but it's a nice mix of depth and talent and leadership. And in fact, youth as well. You want the AHL team to succeed, but you want them to develop players. Now, guys like Kotkaniemi, guys like Suzuki, Romanov, they're already in the NHL. They could be in the AHL. But you're looking right now, I believe it's 11 players on the Laval Rocket roster lineup too that are playing, 11 players under the age or 21 and younger. So that obviously includes Caden Gooley, who's playing as an 18-year-old, Jan Mishak as an 18-year-old, Johnny Fairbrother, who had his first game and he looked really good in it. He played 2 games, but he looked very good in them, using his speed, almost scored off the rush. A lot of young players in Laval right now. So it's exciting that this team is doing well and that they're building that chemistry immediately. They've allowed a little over 2 goals per game on the back of strong performances from McNiven, Primo, and Demchenko. So offensively, it's working out. Defensively, it's working out. And one of the most interesting storylines is Caden Gooley's play. I have to admit, like, I wasn't expecting him to just kind of slide in and just be a guy that looks like he's essentially like the Shea Weber of the AHL, which is kind of what he looks like. I don't want to say he's going to be a Shea Weber, but his attitude, his demeanor, and his physical stature really reminds me of him. It's that leadership, that unspoken leadership where someone doesn't have to demand respect, they command respect. And I think that's very important. That's something that Jean Béliveau mentioned back in his day. You know, you don't ask for that respect. You know, you should be able to command it. And I think that's something Caden Gooley does. And that's part of the big reason why the Prince Albert Raiders just named him as their captain. Like, this is an 18-year-old, keep in mind, just turned 18. So 18-year-old captain, he's doing well in his pro debut, that's not a word, debut. And I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that he just, seamlessly acclimatized to his situation. It's been really impressive. But if you spoke to Joël Bouchard, you spoke to Habs management, you spoke to Mark Habscheid, who was his coach in Prince Albert, they all kind of said this was going to happen. But I'm a doubting Thomas in that. I need to see it in action. And so far, I've been very impressed, not just by his demeanor, but his style of play. Like this, first of all, he has a 47-foot stick that he uses so well on the ice to break up plays, but his positioning, his defensive awareness, his skating, everything looks very good for Caden Gooley. So that is quite encouraging in that respect. Let's jump to the Habs mailbag. Don't forget, if you want me to answer these questions on air, we do 2 times where we answer questions. Every Saturday, we do a live Q&A on Twitter. That's more about the Habs. This is more about the prospects. So you can send your questions to my Twitter account at Marc P for Patrick Dumont, or the Canadiens account with the hashtag Ask Mark. But in the meantime, Rancan CH asks, do the Rocket have what it takes to make it to the Calder Cup final this year? No, because I don't think there will be a Calder Cup final. I actually have to check with my producer Safia right now, because she's smarter than I am and she probably knows this. But as far as I'm aware, there's only divisional champs this year. So the question becomes, can they become a divisional champ? And I say, absolutely. We spoke about it at the beginning. They have a ton of depth. Maybe not that elite offensive talent, because that elite offensive talent is in Montreal right now. But they have a really strong coaching staff. They have 3 really good goalies. They have even, there's some newcomers that are just playing so well so far. Corey Schooneman is one of them, who used to play for Western Michigan. He played for Stockton, I believe, in the AHL. He came in and he's a fantastic skater. Already put 2 goals in as a defenseman. So all in all, things are clicking in Laval. They're going to lose a few games here and there, and we're going to see a lot of back-to-back game against Canadian divisional rivals, which the full schedule just got released. But I really do believe the Laval Rocket have one of the strongest rosters, in the AHL right now. And this is just the culmination of a lot of hard work put in by the coaching staff and the players. We always give a ton of credit to Joël Bouchard, as we should, and Daniel Jacob and Alex Burroughs and Marco Marciano and the 1,000 other people that help in Laval. But the players deserve some credit too. Joël Bouchard didn't automatically magically make Jesperi Kotkaniemi a better player. It took that symbiotic relationship, and that's really what Bouchard brings to the table. So the information is there, but you got to be willing to accept it. And all the guys on the lineup right now, including Caden Gooley, are doing a very good job at that. So I do believe that they have what it takes to be one of the better teams in the AHL. And that's not even talking about guys like Blandisi and Lucchini, who are established AHL scorers, and they haven't really found the rhythm yet. Like, they're playing well, but there's more to come when it comes to Laval Rocket in terms of their offensive production. Habs situation 450 asks, when's the right time to make the jump to North America for European prospects? This is a question I got about 2 months ago, but I held it for this week because instead of me answering it, I transferred from Ottawa to Montreal. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was the same transfer I've done 1,000 times when I wanted to go get some Schwartz smoked meat. We'd come from Ottawa to Montreal all the time, and also the party only when I was legally allowed to drink delicious Molson beer. Never before that. But I don't really know what they're going through, but Jesse Ylönen will be able to answer that perfectly. I'll tell you right now, though, like, it's a lot more than we anticipate. Knew everything. You have to deal with, like, think of parking without being able to read the signs. It's a big deal. So I know the Rocket, and I've spoken to Bouchard about this a lot, make a concerted effort to help these guys out. But it comes with a whole slew of challenges. They do get homesick once in a while. So wait for Jesse to answer that, but it's a really good question. It's something I think we need to really, it's easy to write these guys off as hockey robots, but these guys, it's just such a significant challenge to jump to another, new continent, new country, new coach, new team, new rink, new culture, new everything. And that I think takes a lot. So we have to be very aware of sometimes when they struggle. Maybe they've had a bad day and maybe it has to do with something off the ice. Jesse, we'll get into that. He'll be able to tell us absolutely everything we need to know. And he'll also talk a little bit about Putin, because as per usual, I ask all my guests, I asked him last year, his opinion, it saddened me, I have to admit, but it's an opinion that a lot of pro athletes probably share. We'll get to the Jesse Ylönen interview in just one moment. You've seen them in action and they are gorgeous. I'm talking about the retro jerseys, the blue. They are finally back in stock. They flew off the shelves because everyone, just like me, you guys wanted to get your hands on them. You can get your hands on them once again at tricolorssport.com. The retro reverse jerseys are back in stock. All right, I'm here with my guest, second round pick of the Canadiens, Jesse Ylönen, who he was very nice and he taught me how to pronounce his name. So thank you, Jesse, for joining the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So
just had a little practice in the morning and now just staying at home, getting ready for tomorrow's game.
So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of time between games, between practices. What do you do to keep busy between those intense Laval Rocket practices and then game time?
Actually, not too much. Just staying at home and eating good food and resting a lot. Just it's like when you come home from practice, you start to prepare yourself and your body for the next practice or game. That's how it. Nothing else than hockey and practicing right now, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and your coach would love to hear that. So does that mean you haven't tried poutine yet? Have you tried our delicious poutine?
Actually, I tried it last year when I was here. I tried it one time, but
you didn't like it that much, eh?
Not so much. No offense, but
well, so I like it enough for the both of us, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning, Jesse, because first of all, I'm fascinated by your skating. We'll get into that a little bit later, but tell me about the first time you laced up the skates. When was the first time you got on a hockey rink or a skating rink?
I think I was 1.5 years old, 2 years old maybe. I don't remember it at all, but my mother has like video of it, and I've seen it a couple of times. I think it was in Tampa. My dad was playing there at that time, so pretty much when I started walking, I went to skate for the first time.
So you learned how to crawl, to walk, and then skate at the exact same time. Was that because of your father?
Much, yes.
Did he want to get you involved in hockey as soon as possible?
I think it was because of me, because I was watching the game so much, and I was so excited when I was able to go skating. I think it was just he didn't push me to do it, but I've liked it ever since.
Can you do me a favor? Because we heard from Yannick Veilleux last week, and he was just talking about how amazing you are as a skater. He thinks you have that NHL potential. He really he believes in your shot. Says smart player. Can you describe yourself for fans that haven't had a chance to watch you play yet?
I don't know. I'm just trying to be like hardworking player and getting better at the all-around game. But I think my skating is my biggest strength as a hockey player. It's and shot also, but I'm trying to learn to get better defensively as well. And we have great coaches and great teammates now here in Laval, so it's been really easy for me to try to learn new things.
We'll get to your skating because I tend to tell people you have arguably the best skating in the organization, and I want to learn more about that. But let's talk about your coaches real quick. You have a guy on your roster of coaches named Alex Burroughs. He was never drafted, but he's that story of he persevered through the ranks, made a nice long NHL career. I've seen him at practice. Burroughs can still take that shot. He can still skate. What's it like to have a coach like Alex Burroughs available to you if you have any questions?
It's been so nice. I really like him, and of course it's nice to know that the coach has been doing the same thing, and he knows what it's like to be a player. So it's easy to go talk to him if you have some question from the game, and he knows so much about those little details, how you make yourself a great NHL player, and he has done it. So I'm trying to learn from him every day.
Now, obviously, again, everyone says you have elite skating. I've seen you mostly playing in Liga, and yeah, the skating is elite. How did you become an elite skater? Was that your father who taught you at a young age? Did you focus on skating? Were you always amazing? Tell me the secret of why Jesse Ylönen is an amazing skater.
Well, I don't still think I'm that amazing, but I think when I was younger, the skating wasn't my biggest. It wasn't the best thing in my game, and I've been like last 5 or 6 years, I've been working at it, both like on the ice but also off the ice. A lot of like skating drills and like different kind of jumps and doing those things in the gym too. And my dad has been helping me with those things, and he kind of invented like, I don't know if it's his drills, but he's been making me do some of that stuff, and I think it's been really helping. And of course, getting stronger and bigger, you get more faster as well, obviously.
So for those that don't know, your father played in the NHL. He also played with your current coach. So and they played for, I believe it was the Phoenix Coyotes at the time in 2000. So I have 2 questions for you. Does your father still give you way too much advice, even when you don't ask for it? And do you ever tease your coach right now about how old he is? Because again, he played with your father. So do you ever tease him about him using wooden sticks back in the day, or do you avoid that kind of stuff?
Well, I avoid it. Like I'm not teasing him, but like my father, we talk a lot about hockey, but he's still my dad. So if I tell him let's not talk about hockey, it's fine for him. But of course he knows what it's like, and he's been playing so many years, and after his pro career, he's been many years as a player agent. So he's been watching thousands of games. So of course I would be dumb if I don't ask advice from him. So he's been really helping me a lot, and mostly it's positive feedback and just saying like, do what you're doing well. But sometimes if he sees that I'm doing something wrong or something like that, of course he tells me about it, but I want him to tell me about it for sure, because I wanna get better.
Do you remember any? I'm sure he's given you a ton of advice. As you say, you work on skating with him and everything else. What was the biggest piece of off ice advice that he gave you about living and playing in North America?
It's just like you have to prepare your, like, the games are the biggest things, and of course you need to practice well and do that as good as you can. But it's like every time you have game, you have to do the right preparation for your body and your mind, that you have a chance to play a good game. Like, of course there are some always there are some bad games or during the season, but like that, you have to live that way. You give yourself a chance to be at your best in every game. I think that's the biggest thing he taught me.
We have one of the questions this week. One of our listeners asked was, when do European prospects know the right time to come to North America? And I mean, my answer to that is, first of all, I don't know, but I'd say there's no way to know it's the right time. How did you know it was the right time last season to leave the Pelicans and make your way to North America?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that when I got drafted, since then my dream has been to play for Montreal Canadiens, and the Finnish League is it's really good high level league, but if I want to make the NHL, then the American Hockey League is better place to get ready for it, because I think American Hockey League it's much closer to NHL than Finnish League. They're both good leagues, but the style of play is a little bit different. So when I developed a few years in Finland and got a little bit stronger and better all-around player after playing in juniors, so then I thought that it's a right step for me to come here to get a little bit closer to my dream.
History in the Making is brought to you by Tricot Sport, Montreal's official team store. From lifestyle brands to jerseys and beyond, Tricot Sport has a style for every sports fan in your life. Head to tricotsport.com and use coupon code HISTORYCH10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. Visit tricotsport.com today. Welcome back. We're with our guest, Jesse Ylönen. We're talking about his development with the Laval Rocket, about his time with the Pelicans in the Liga. Now, when you joined the Rocket, obviously your coach, Joël Bouchard, very intense guy. He loves to pepper people with information. I know that he actually asked, it was Otto Leskinen that came to pick you up at the airport. Is that right? And he told me that he wanted to make it as comfortable as possible for you, obviously arriving from Europe. So what was the conversation like with Joël Bouchard when you first arrived? What was the conversation like with Otto Leskinen? How did that whole jump over here happen? And what did the organization do to make it easier on you?
Well, I think I've known Otto for many years, so it was nice to have someone that I know already and who speaks Finnish and is from Finland. So he made it very easy for me, and all the guys as well. They were right away. Everyone was so nice to me, and of course the Joël Bouchard has given me a lot of we've had many meetings, and he's make it easy to adapt to the new way of playing. So he's giving me a lot of new information, but for me, because he's been given them so much, it was easy to play first games here, because I already been practicing and got prepared for the North American style of playing.
What was the conversation like in the car ride home from the airport? Was it, watch out, this coach is really intense? Was it telling you about the differences living here and living in Finland? How did that go? Did Otto warn you about Joël Bouchard's intensity?
Not really. He says that he really likes the coaches here. Of course they have to be they have to push the players. And it's better for the players too, because we wanna do as well as we can. But the coaches are very competitive persons as well. So we're all in this thing together. And if we lose, the coaches are in that, and also the players. And if we win, it's the same thing. So we're just trying to work together, and of course the coach's job is to push the players to play and practice as well as they can.
Now, we joked at the start about trying Putin, but there's something to be said about all these changes. A new team, new culture, new everything, right? New rink, new coach. There's other off ice things. I'm wondering, so is there anything, there's the language, the food, is there anything you miss from Finland? Like, one of my friends from Finland said, ask him about the Finnish saunas. He probably misses having access to all the saunas. So what do you miss about Finland the most?
Right now it's actually, well, of course, all the people there, but right now the sauna is the thing I miss the most, because we don't have it at the rink in Laval we have it, but now because it's COVID, there's no chance going. In Finland, I usually go pretty much every day, but that's what I miss the most.
Okay, so it's true that you guys, because I've never been to Finland, but I was told they're like, no, it's no joke. It's every day, if not every second day, in the sauna, relaxing. So it's a big part of the culture, right?
Yeah, it's.
So maybe it's time for you to start a Finnish sauna center in Montreal. Is that's something maybe you should look into?
Maybe in the future. I don't know about that.
I'm curious too, and this is, again, it's so difficult to adapt to a new culture. Has there ever been a time where you kind of got lost in translation? Again, you speak really good English. You speak, I assume, good Finnish. I assume your French isn't that great. Has there ever been a situation where you didn't quite understand what was going on and it was maybe a little bit frustrating, or has that never happened yet?
Well, there's been a couple of times, like there was. I had some problem with my television here, and then some guy came to fix it, and he didn't speak English at all. He was only speaking French, so that kind of thing sometimes happen, but we can still communicate some way.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I speak French, and they tried to fix my TV last week, and they weren't able to do it either. So, at least we're both dealing with that. I need to know, last year when you came over, there was Otto. There's also Jesperi was there at the time. And they said, it's good. We're getting more Finns on the team. There are 2 Swedes on the team. So Lucas Vedemo and Gustav Olofsson. Do you guys ever tease each other about the whole Finnish-Swedish rivalry?
Well, of course, sometimes, but it's all in a fun way, and of course, it's been always like that. Finns and Swedes been having big rivalries in hockey, but we still like them a lot. It's more like friendly thing.
So if you're on a 3-on-1 and you had Otto who jumped into the play and you had Lucas both in perfect shooting position, you're going to pass it to Otto, right?
I can say that.
I'm trying to get you in trouble here, but you're doing a really good job. Okay. What would you say? Let's say someone, a younger European player, he's playing, let's say, in one of the lower leagues. Let's just say, he's playing in the Messi or Mestis. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. And he wants to make the jump. What kind of advice would you have to younger players that are preparing to make the jump to North America?
I think the big thing is, of course, to practice and practice every day and getting better every day. But it's also to watch NHL a lot and North American hockey, because when you watch it, you can follow how the players are playing, and that's like prepares yourself like mentally to the North American, even if it's might be after 2 or 3 years, but if you've been watching those games for 2 years, so it's because it's not gonna get much different in those 2 years. So then you kind of know how to make different kind of plays, and yeah.
So wow, okay, so you're essentially doing your homework, and through watching do you take notes when you're watching before you made the jump? Like, hey, I'm gonna have to try to do that a little more often, or I can't do this because that won't result in the same type of play? Or did you just kind of get it so that you could feel comfortable once you first hit the ice?
Yeah, I've been trying to watch, not every day, but few times a week, like NHL hockey, if possible. So not really, but there are some players in the teams that I'm following, like what kind of plays they make, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Who would you say you like to watch the most in the NHL right now? Who's your favorite player to watch?
I like Artemi Panarin. I've been watching him a lot already when he still played in Russia. He's been, I like watching him, and I hope I can try to do some plays like him, but it's not still not possible. A lot of work to do.
Well, I mean, and he is an elite player, but what a lot of coaches did tell me was that what they liked from you was your vision. And we were watching some of the plays in Laval. I mean, you're almost up to a point per game. Most of them are primary assists. Is that something that you were just born with, that you could see the ice well, or is that a result of playing so much hockey? Is that something that you built on, or is that something you were born with, being able to really see the ice?
It's a hard question, but I don't even think my vision is that good. But I think the big thing is that I've been training how to play with head up. Like when I've been training stick handling, I've been trying to even when I've been practicing by myself, I try to look up, like not watching the puck too much. So, and it's been easy to find those plays here because the teammates are doing great job at getting open.
Let's talk about your current team. I mean, even in the, there was a couple games you lost. You guys outshot your opponents. What's the vibe right now for the Laval Rocket? From the outside, I mean, I'm not at practice every morning anymore, but from the outside, it seems like a pretty positive group. What's the vibe in the locker room?
I think it's really, really good right now. We have a good mix of veteran players and then younger players, and it's really good right now. We are training hard and getting better every day, and everyone is very competitive players and wants to win a lot. So it's been really good.
What's the best advice that Joël Bouchard has given you so far? Because we know he's a hands-on coach. He spends a lot of time preparing individually for every player. So what was the advice when you first got here? And maybe this year, what else did he tell you that you either need to improve upon, or, what kind of specific message did Joël Bouchard give you?
Well, there's so many things. It's hard to pick one, but like that, he wants players to make the right plays at the right time. Like in the offensive zone, if there's nothing, he just wants you to make the right play, whether it's to chip the puck and protecting the own zone. But then in the offensive zone, you can use your creativity and use your skill set, and I think that's the biggest message that he has given to me. Like make right plays at the right time.
Yeah, he's big on that, on the details. Is it sometimes, do you have to step back to absorb it? Because I watch his practice. He gives a lot of information. Was there ever a point where you're like, okay, like this is a lot to process, or does he make it that he just gives enough at a time for you to figure out?
Yeah, it's pretty much that he doesn't give everything at the same time. He gives those little details. After some game, I might watch video with him and look why you didn't do this, and next time do this. But it's pretty much those small details every day.
What's been the biggest? I know everyone talks about the ice. Yeah, of course. I mean, and some rinks in Europe aren't even that much bigger than the ones here. But what's been the biggest adjustment? I know the size of the rink is there, but is it speed of play? Is it speed of execution? How quickly you got to get the puck off your stick? What's been the biggest difference for you playing in North America?
Well, I think it's that everything happens a lot faster. It's very, very, very fast league, and you have to when you get the puck, you should know what you're gonna do, or you get run over, or you lose the puck. So I think that's biggest, that you have to move your feet, but be fast in your head too.
So the computer has to match everything else in the body. Exactly. Okay. One of the things that Joël Bouchard was telling me about you is he's a very smart player, good anticipation for Mr. Ylönen. What makes you a smart player? I know it's a hard question to answer, but I mean, is that just a result of playing high level hockey your whole life? Why would they call you a smart player?
I don't know if I'm that smart player, but I don't know. It's just trying to play as good as I can, and it's maybe that like I wanna be a good offensive player, but for me the most important thing is that I do the defensive job well, and of course the coaches and teammates respect that a lot. So I think it's just that I'm trying to be a very good all around player. I'm not, but I still have to improve it a lot. But I'm working on it, and I think I'm getting better every day.
Well, your coaches and your teammates all think you're smart and you have good vision and you're a really good skater. So I know you're not allowed to say it, but I'm allowed to say it. That's what they keep telling me about you. So, and I know
Okay.
Habs fans are excited to see you one day in a Canadiens uniform. What was it like playing on the Bell Center ice? Like the fans aren't there, so it's a little different. But what was it like, getting out there and skating on the Bell Center and looking up and seeing all those Stanley Cup banners and all the retired players? How did that feel?
It was of course we missed the fans, but it was great feeling. Of course, the organization of Montreal Canadiens, it's so legendary, and so many big names have been playing there. So it's a huge honor for me to play for this organization and in the Bell Center.
There are two guys I'd like to ask you about. Well, the first one is I think he played his first game a couple of days ago. Kaiden Guhle, young defenseman. I mean, this guy just turned 19. What were your impressions of him? He's a Canadiens first round pick, but this was his first professional camp. He just played his first professional game. What were your impressions of the defenseman Kaiden Guhle?
I've been really impressed. Like the way he plays, it doesn't seem that he's so young. He's really smart and like smooth skater, and he's a hardworking guy. So he will be a great defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens in the future. There's no doubt about that.
And there's one other player I'd like you to discuss, and he kind of had the same. He actually came to North America a little younger. He played for Hamilton once he came over, and by the name of Jan Mysak. Young guy, excitable guy too. He's always, he wants to get to practice early. What are your impressions been about Jan Mysak so far?
Well, I've been really impressed by him too. Like he's so young, but the way he plays, he's already now doing. He's been playing good in the games he's been playing, but I think the biggest impression is him, that like how he practices and how he's so nice guy, and always I think he's one of the hardworking guys I've seen, and you can see that in him, that he really wants to be like really good player, and he's working on that every day.
Perfect. I thank you so much, Jesse. Very informative. I'm fascinated by making the jump to North America, and I'm glad to see it's going well. Everyone that I've spoken to have been impressed by your skill set. So, and Habs fans obviously have been pretty excited to see you going. It's been a really good start with your career in Laval. We hope to see you in Montreal in a different uniform very soon. Thank you so much for joining us, Jesse.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, guys and gals. You got a up-close look at one of the most interesting prospects for the Canadiens, Jesse Ylönen, who I'm going to do my best to pronounce his name properly, but and also find him a Finnish sauna place in Montreal. There must be some. Let me know. We got to get Jesse back in the classic Finnish sauna. But so far, he's had a great start to his North American career, and everything we hear about him is just such a smart. He was very humble, obviously. Is that classic Finnish stoic humbleness, but coaches and his teammates know that this guy's got the talent to eventually make it to the NHL. So it's going to be so interesting to see him put it all together in Laval, who are having a great season. So don't forget, you can catch all the Laval Rocket games on the home games, RDS, and you can listen to them on the 91.9 on the radio and on TSN 690. And they are covering some of the games. So keep a close eye on the Laval Rocket this season. Should be a very fun year. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jesse Ylönen. We'll be alternating. So next week, it will be our podcast, En Français, L'Histoire s'écrit, which is available wherever you get your podcasts. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, because you already got it somewhere where you got your podcast. So keep getting it there. Don't forget to download, like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to do, what you want us to hear. What you want us to cover in this podcast. We do it for you. So we're going to try to book as many great guests as we can. That obviously will be the work of my fantastic producer, Safia. So if you don't like it, you can send angry messages to her, not to me, obviously. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.